Hello, this is George Almodovar, the Puerto Rican cowboy with RE/MAX. I'm an associate broker. And there's a lot of misconception, a lot of misinformation online. So I decided to give some educational information. And here it goes. This is regarding Florida tax relief, facts, not fiction. There has been, as a discussion, unfortunately, a lot of misinformation regarding Florida property taxes. As a Florida licensed real estate professional, I wanted to provide an educational update based on what has actually occurred in Tallahassee and what Florida voters will be deciding this November. What has actually passed? The Florida Legislature recently approved a proposed constitutional amendment that will appear on November 2026 in the general election ballot. In Florida, constitutional amendments require approval by at least 60% of the voters before becoming law. As of today, no property taxes have been eliminated and no additional exemptions has yet taken effect. The proposal must be first approved by Florida voters. What is being proposed? If approved by 60% of voters, the current homestead exemption would increase from $50,000 to $150,000 beginning in 2027. The homestead exemption would increase to $250,000 beginning in 2028. The expanded exemption would apply only to homestead primary residents. The proposal would reduce or eliminate many non-school property taxes for a significant number of Florida homeowners. Important, what will still be taxable? One of the most misunderstood part of this proposal is that it does not eliminate school district taxes. Even if the amendment passes, homeowners will still be responsible for school board mileage, school taxes. Certain voters approve school-related assessment. Any taxes, assessment fee, or obligation not covered by the constitutional exemptions. In other words, the proposal is not a complete elimination of all property taxes. It is primarily a reduction on non-school property taxes on homestead primary residences. Many homeowners will still receive a property tax bill, although potentially a much smaller one. Who benefits? Generally speaking, the proposal is designed to benefit Florida homeowners who own and occupy their property as a primary residence, have filed for homestead exemptions, intend to remain Florida residents. Property investors, vacation homes, second homes, commercial property, and non-homesteaded properties are treated differently under Florida law. What could this mean for real estate? As an economics enthusiast and real estate professional, I believe lower ownership costs generally improve affordability and can increase demand. Historically, when the cost of owning a real estate decreases, more buyers enter the marketplace. Existing homeowners retain more disposable income. Florida becomes more attractive to out-of-state buyers. Demand for owner-occupied housing can increase. When demand increases and housing inventory remains limited, property values often experience upward pressure over time. While nobody can guarantee future appreciation, lower carrying costs tend to be viewed positively by real estate market. Why is there a debate? Supporters argue homeowners deserve relief from rising property taxes. Florida should continue attracting residents from higher tax states. Families should keep more of their hard-earned money. That's my opinion as well. Opponents argue cities, counties, and special districts rely heavily on property tax revenues. Reduced revenues could impact local budgets and services. Alternative funding sources may eventually be required. These are important policy discussions Florida voters will ultimately decide this coming November. My message to the buyers: the real estate market often reminds or rewards those who act before major changes becomes widely recognized. If property tax relief is approved and ownership becomes more affordable, Florida could become even more attractive to future buyers. Whether you are buying your first home, relocating to Florida, upsizing or downsizing, looking for homesteaded primary residence, now may be a good time to begin exploring your options and understanding how these potential changes could impact your long-term housing costs. If you want more information, please contact licensed associate broker with 𝐷/MAX Premier Property, George Almodovar, at 407-713-2275. Disclaimer: this information is provided for educational purpose only and should not be construed as legal or tax or financial or investment advice. Property tax law, constitutional amendments, exemptions, mileage rate, and government policies are subject to change. Consult a qualified attorney, CPA, tax professional, or your local property appraiser's office regarding your specific situation. For Facebook, I added these short attention grabbers opening above the article, which was like Florida property tax update. Before sharing memes or headlines, it is important to understand what actually passed and what Florida voters will decide this coming November. No property taxes have not been eliminated. Yes, a major homestead exemptions increase has been approved by legislature and will be placed on November 2026 ballot. No school board taxes will not be eliminated under this proposal. Here's what Florida homeowners need to know. The information above reflects legislature recently approved ballot proposal and is intended to help homeowners separate facts from rumors. I put the sources regarding Fox 35 in Orlando, and I will put the link on this video below so you can follow up and check the sources. Please understand, I am a licensed professional. I major in real estate, and this is very important because it's going to increase a high demand for Florida properties that are currently, there's a buyer's market, but eventually it will help the real estate market, that's for sure. There's a surplus of properties right now. But at the same time, think about those that reside in other states. If you want to take advantage of this and you're thinking of retiring, start buying it now, because I'm sure they're going to implement, as from what I've read, they're going to implement that those that are coming from another state after 2027 or 2028, they will have to wait 5 years before they will activate these exemptions. So that's very important to know. So the time, in my opinion, to buy is now. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and share. God bless.